Time value money that's week. In normal terms, it is about how the value of money can change when it travels with the time. To be short, we know that $1 today can be different from $1 tomorrow or the day after tomorrow or 1 year later. And we need a technique to capture the differences on values for the same amount of money in different time slots. And we call that difference of money or value and time value. And a very key variable that we use to link up the values in different times and the interest rate. When referring to interest rate, we define that as a compensation for what kind of serenity. Then you have to sacrifice the enjoyment of the money you have, right? Because you're not lending money to the others. And it's very natural for you to ask for certain rewards with the sacrifice you have made. And for that kind of sacrifice, we call it an interest. We will have a discussion about interest rate next week because they have some different forms. As to APRs, that is the rate will have appear on a piece of paper. They have printed there. And can be EAR. That is the actual rate you have to pay. And you will know that the two rates can be slightly different according to the way you accrue the interest. Okay, let's be simple today. And then we had a discussion about two important terms, the present value and the future value. Future value means that how much the money can worth at the end of the period. Or when referring to a stream of cash flow, all And you will know the difference very clearly. Or if you find it a bit tricky, start with the string like this. It might be somewhat easier. Okay. Now, we start from the string B. That is, you receive the $1 million at the end of each year. How do you get the present value? Let's see. The PBB goes now. The very first year, we are receiving $1 million at the end of the year, right? So, what should I do to get the present value on my very first payment? What should I do? We have 1 million here at the end of each year. Scale by 1 and so the present value is indeed what I'm receiving now. Right. Because I do not receive the money 1 year later, I'm receiving the money now. So there should be no discount at all. So now we will have for first year is 1, for second year is 1 and 8. And for third year, it's 1 and 8 squared. And to the very final payment, the 1 and 8. Well, how many times? Is that silly? Yeah. We have 30 payments, right? So the very final one should be 1 scaled by 1/8 for 30 times. No. How many times? 29. What? Because we're receiving money at the beginning of the year. So it is 29. And that is the reason why I always ask you to draw a timeline here. Otherwise, you might make some mistake here. Now, let's make things a bit more complicated. Now, you're still receiving your black pen to mark down. For first year, again, at the beginning of each year, you will have nothing. Second year, nothing. Third year, nothing. And from the fourth year, however, we're having 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Here where? This is the first year. And this is second year. And this is third year. You see the money. Because the first 3 years you see nothing. Then by the terminal point. It might be like we say 32. right? So what is the formula? We will have PV equals 1 since the 30, right? 1 and 8%. 1 and 8% for 32 years. But some people ask saying, well, this have a problem. Because we cannot use the formula like this. For example, we also try to use something like this to get the answer. And the reason why we use this is that if you have a book, try to get it at the very end of the book, you find some tables. The table is called the coefficient of present value and future value. That is, you'll find in this part, I mean, getting the C out, you'll find this as a discount factor. And there are only two variables related to the discount factor. One is the rate, the other is number of years. So we can have a table like this. Here in horizontal room, we have different rates. Or multiply, we say 1%, 2%, 3%, maybe to 20%. And for the in the vertical column, we have different years. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. By doing so, we will not have to calculate the discount rate because we can get that from a table, which is much faster, right? And in your final examination, I'll provide you a table like this. Now, the problem is, how can we fit this into a scenario like that? Anyway, you have the option to calculate that manually yourself. And for this, always remember the original form, which is here. That is, for this calculator or for this discount rate, it is based on the assumption that the C is paid or received at the end of each year. But now we have a difficult scenario. Payments are made in advance, and we even have some years as a delay. How can we make it? Now, these are very simple. If we treat the year 2 as a new starting point, if we treat the year 2 as a new starting point, So this is a 0, this is a 1, this is 2, this is 3. We are turning that into a similar setting as this one, right? Because we choose the second year as 0, and now the first payment is in fact made at the end of the first year. So we calculate this, the PV equals 1 times 80% and 1 minus 8% for certain time. Now, by doing this, can you please tell me where is the present value located? It is here, right? It is in fact here. That is the stream cash flow at the end of second year. But what we want is the present value here. How can we convert the present value at the end of second year into something like based on the time view? What should we do? Very simple. We just scale again by 1.8%. Clear. We convert that cash flow or that present value into the present year. No worries. You have some practice here on that first page. You will fully understand what I'm talking about when you have tried all this. Do remember to do all these questions on your own, because I can guarantee at least one problem or something similar will appear in your final examination paper. And if you can do that well, it's very helpful for you to pass it. And again, I wish I won't see you next year. And I will try my best to make that never happen. But you have to show your own diligence as well. Okay, so this is about time cash flow. Now, according to their calculations, they find that the present value is only 11 million, which is very astonishing. So, according to the results, which option we prefer? Are you still willing to receive all the 13 millions in 30 years, assuming that you can live that long? Or you would prefer to have in half immediately? Don't prefer. Very cool, right? Think about it. 30 million, 30 years. Why not wait? A lot of money. Right? Think about it. And if you see all the money now, you only get half. Only half. Which one we prefer? Always believe in your calculation. If you do want to wait for 30 years, it's equivalent to receiving $11 million per day. However, if you decide not to wait, you have 15, which is more than you're waiting. So, don't ditch it. Take all the money now, even though you only have about 15 minutes. Now, let's have a modification of the problem. If the rate is not 8%, but only 2% each year, what is your conclusion? Because 8% on average is very rare. It is very close to a level of inflation. 2 or 3% would be normal. And you know that? In UK, it's even less than 1%. See, what's the impact? Well, you have phones, you have iPad, you have computer. Don't do that. If the rate is now 2%, what is the present value of the 30 years? And what is your decision? Okay, for one thing, in the midst of 1 million here, right? If we still have 1 million extra now, sorry for the mistake. See, if the rate is only 2%, how do you feel about the plan? Will you change your mind or not? Well, try to replace the 8 into 2 here. Well, let's make it. Because I have no iPad, I will use my computer instead. Let's see if I have Excel. We have 1 million a year, we have that for 30 years. And no, 22 years because it's paid in advance. And we even have the rate of 2%. So what is the present value? Let's see if I can get something here to work. We have financial. They have something called present value. PV. So we have the rate at 2%. We have number period for 29. For each year, we have 1. Hope I'm not making a mistake. No, that the series music capital was negative, or maybe sorry. Maybe I should write that on the and here. And then I will plus the original payment. So it is here and this. Oh no, force. No. So the answer. Area 22, close to 23, and formulate here. So now, what is your decision? To wait or not to wait? Okay, let's do something more crazy. We often have 1 minute. We always have 22 years. But again, we have 1%, 2%, 3%. Let's see until when we would abandon the waiting plan. So again. Now, if you would like to wait, you will receive 30 minutes in full. If not, you will receive 15 minutes immediately. So, the only condition we will have to wait is the present value is more than 15 minutes. So, we did a calculation table. We will find that when the rate increases from 1% to 9%, what can happen? We will see. If the rate is lower than 5%, and 5% included, we will have to wait. Because the present value is more than 15 million US dollars. When the rate turns into 6%, you'll find it's 50. And if you're interested in that, you can even draw a curve to see how it changes. Right? So this is the way that you can do by using the Excel functions. You can do some investigation later after class. Include here, press FX, and select the category and financial. And you have a lot of functions to go. Like present value, future value, internal rate of return, and even more. So enjoy it. And you find it very useful. And 7 years later, when you decide to buy a house and to take a mortgage, you will not have to go online to find a calculator. You can do that yourself. It's much quicker, right? So it's very interesting that we're talking about some mortgage banks and now the faculties in economic department. The very first was for them not to go online for calculator. They will do that in Excel. Okay, so no, another practice. And 35 years old, and she had decided it's time to plan seriously for her retirement. Maybe I should do that as well. At the end of each year, until 065, she was paying $10,000 in a retirement account. If the account earns 10% per year, how much will Aaron have saved at the age 65? Now, they asked you that. We are trying to save some money now, and we want to know how much can we save altogether when we become older? Is that something about present value or future value? For this question, is that about future value or present value? We're saving money now for later, which for the time plan. Several years ago, I invested some money into the US stock market. I had a holding of some very giant firms. For example, Microsoft, Amazon, and I told my wife saying that I am sure that these firms can grow bigger and bigger. And my retirement will help on all these firms. And you know what has happened since last year. So my wife is now asking me, now you have moved to a new campus, right? Which is somewhat larger. Have you ever picked up a corner for your retirement? Because the stock market now depreciated, right? Depreciated means that we are losing money. So she said, I really have no confidence about your retirement plan. I would prefer you to take action now. Find some quiet corner around the office for the time. Well, anyway, I'm joking. Still remember that several years ago, I purchased my very first camera on eBay. The price is very cheap. You know the reason why? Because the seller posted a message saying, "Hey guys, I purchased my camera and my lens when traveling to New Zealand. I took some very nice photos. But when I returned, my wife said, you have two options. Either you sell the camera or you live in the doggy house. If you were the guy, what would you do? To live with the camera in the doggy house with a lovely dog there, or sell the camera." So that is why I got my first camera with a very good price. Now, let's see. You're now having a retirement plan. So what is retirement plan? That is, you save the money or you deposit money into the account from year to year or from month to month. And you can get the money out when you retire. Right. So, is that about the future value or about the present value? 5 minutes. Have a break. So this time it's about the future value. We are now depositing money now into the accounts. With the hope that we can use that later when we retire. This is very common in Europe and in the US. And in some countries, the deposits in the retirement account come with high interest rate and can be exempted from the taxations. So you will see some governmental encouragements on that. Let's extend that a bit further. For the retirement plan, deposit is a very basic and fundamental form. And we in fact have some other forms, like investments, or you would like to put your money in a fund, and you ask the fund managers to arrange the investment for you. This might be okay in Europe or US, but be very cautious in China. I also see a call from the banks saying, hey, Mr. Gu, do you want to buy some funds? Or do you want to do some investments? We are now having a very good project for you. And the manager is in fact a staff in industry. And I always replied, have you ever heard of Stella? You have so many stars. You have tried to push me more than 20 star managers in 6 months. So what happened with that? Because there's no manager who can sustain the performance. Right. Okay, let's focus on the very fundamental question here. Aaron, 30 years old, 35 years old, having a retirement plan, and he would receive or she would receive, say, $10,000 each year in the retirement account, and she would like to know if the rate is 10% per year. How much money will she have when she turns 65? Now again, draw a timeline. We have paramount here, is C. And it starts when she was 35 years old, so from 0, 1, 2, well, quite a few years. And let's see. At the end of each year. So again, she now depositing the money at the end of each year, not the beginning of each year, right? So let's see. We have deposits at the end of each year. 10,000. 10,000. The question is, how many years? She is now 35. And she will save or deposit 10,000 each year in the account. And she will do that until she turned to be 65. So now my question is, how many years will she deploy? How many years? 30 years, right? So until the 30 years. Now, what is the future value? How do we make it? It is in fact future value equals, well, for 30 years, it is 10,000 and 1 plus it's 10% for 30 years, right? And 10%. No, not 30 years. 29 years. And finally, the no multiples. So that's it here. Future value, much simpler, right? Now, let's make things a bit more complicated. Because originally, we assume that the payment or the receipt or the payment to receive money is equal in each year. But now we want to relax the assumption a bit. We assume that for each year, the money that you receive or pay can grow. But to make it not too complicated, we assume a constant growth rate. This will be very useful when you try to value a stock or a firm. Because you can never assume that the cash flow or the earnings of a firm can never change in future years. Why? Why would you not assume that some price or something can never change in future years? This is because we have inflations. So even though you find the firm or the company is doing nothing to enhance the business, their income can still grow slightly, only because of inflation. For example, you have a very small food stand in the food stand. It's Japan, food stand just near the street downstairs. And you'll find the business never changed. The recipe never changed. The price grows up slightly, right? So why do they want to raise the price a bit each year? Because of inflation. So a very natural setting in valuation is to assume something can always grow. And let's extend it further. When you try to value a firm, you might assume a very high growth rate in first few years. But you would set a very slow growth or a very low growth level in future years for long-term or for remote forecasts. Anyway, no matter whether you set up a high or low level of growth rate, there's growth. And how can we make it? And again, it's a very simple mathematical game. I have done that for you. Oh yeah, here. Oh, by the way, I missed one thing. But we'll be used later. Now see here. We assume that for each year, the cash flow is growing at a rate of G. G, that vector's letter growth. So what can happen then? In fact, the calculation here in formula 4 is the same as we did in formula 2. The only difference is that now the steps we need is a bit more complicated. So how do you feel about this? It's still about mathematics in high school, right? Yeah. An idea? No, I'm learning Chinese. Then be So that's why I said that's mathematics in high school, right? Again, you find it's even more complicated to memorize this. At least I would surrender. I would never memorize it. Okay, this is the original mathematics. Now, before that, we have another thing. That is, if the stream of flow goes forever, never stops, how can we get to know the present value? Because if we have an infinite period, you know infinite, Rn(F(Rn)(I))T). It's a mathematical term. It means it lasts forever without an end. So definitely there'll be no future value. Because there's no end point how can you get a future value. But it does have something called the present value. So why do people need that? For example, we are now trying to set up a scholarship in management school, and we decide to distribute 20,000 per year. Now my question is, how much money should I provide at least to make sure that the scholarship can sustain forever? Now assuming that the rate is 5%. And now I'm setting up a scholarship for management school. For each year, I would like to distribute 20,000 for the students with very excellent performance. May I ask that how much money do I need to deposit to make sure the structure can sustain whatever. Now, I write down the conditions. We have a structure plan, and I would like to devote. Oh no, not devote. I would like to distribute 20,000 per year for students with very good performance. And the current rate of deposit in the bank is 5%. And my question is, how much money do I need to make sure the scholarship will sustain forever? That means the money will not dry up. Because if the plan is underfunded means there's not enough money, maybe in 10 or 20 years, the pool dries up and there's no money anymore. Right. Now let's draw a timeline here. We have a timeline T. And now I'm having a scholarship plan. What I'm trying to make sure is that for each year, I can get 20,000 out of the account. However, my only requirement that this withdrawal can be sustainable. So how much money do I need? At least. Because you'll say, well, the more the better. So how much money do I need least to set up a plan like this? Try to obey your mind. Your simplify it's a very simple task. You even don't need an advanced mathematics. Some of you will say, well, we calculate the present value with a limit. Some will say, I hate mathematics. I don't want to write something like this saying, I'll do that for you. We have a limit here. If the n turns to be infinite, and we have 1 and r and right, and maybe 20,000 like that. No, I hate it. Let's work around it. Now, how can you make sure the money in that pool will never dry up? Now we have a swimming pool. The water flows in and flows out. How can we make sure that the pool can never dry up? The flow in exceeds the flow out, right? So there's always more water coming in than out. Or at least we have a balance. The flow ins equals the flow outs. So the water can sustain on a certain level. Then let's put that kind of model into this question. How can we sustain the pool money? We must make sure the money in addition each year exceeds the money we withdraw each year. Right? Or at least, we must ensure the amount that is added into the account equals to the money we withdraw each year. So the hole will never dry up. Do you agree with that? But how can we have money added up in account? From which source? We have deposit money in the bank account. Will the money increase itself? No. Have you ever observed the balance of your account each month or each half a year or each year? Will there any increase on your balance even if you and your parents did nothing? Don't forget about the interest. Once you devote the money in the bank account, you will have some interest. So, my thought is, if I use the interest as a source of my scholarship each year, the money or the whole of money can never dry up, right? But how much money do I need to ensure that the interest they generate equals to the amount of money I would like to withdraw each year? Think about it. This is not mathematics in high school. It's in advanced years of primary school. I would like to withdraw 20,000 per year, and the interest rate is 5%. So how much money should I deposit into the bank account to ensure that the interest they generate is no less than 20,000? Okay. So we have this amount of money in the bank. For each year, we have 5% as interest. It equals 27. Right? So the money we need is 20,000 scaled by 5%. And that is indeed the present value of annuity with infinite periods. So you don't have to use the limit. Try to understand that in this way. It's much easier. Right? Okay. This kind of stream is called a penalty. And then we would like to make things a bit more complicated again. We are going to assume that the scholarship can increase because of the inflation. Let me tell you a true story. I went to university in very early years, in 2003. So you can guess how old I am now. At the time, my monthly spending on living, including food or clothing, is about 400 RMB. My parents would assign me 500 quota, which I have some savings. But several years later, when I attended the graduate school to get my master's degree, that's in 2007-8, at some point, 500 is not enough anymore. I spent home 500 from my parents, with in addition with the 200 from the government subsidies. This is because of inflation. So we can never set a fixed number of scholarship rate. At the time when I was in my university, the scholarship that I receive each year is about 500 or 600. But I understand that usually university is much higher, right? So, how can things work? Here, I did some calculations as well. We use this formula, but at this time, we have to use the limit. Well, that's indeed the very first chapter of your mathematics in college, right? If you have no way to find out to do it, well, have a review. And you will find that under some conditions, this part has a limit of 0. So it's not to be like C1, C0 plus 1 and G, because it's 1 and scaled by R minus G. And remember, C0 times 1 and G equals C1. So we have a very simple formula here. We say if the string comes with growth, the present value equals C1 about R minus G. But it comes with a condition. The condition is that the growth rate can never exceed or equal to the discount rate. So my question is, why do we have a limit? That is, R is required to be strictly larger than G. Why? Why? I'm asking you why. This is a very simple question. I used to ask my students who are willing to be my master students. We had a phone call and a very informal interview. I would say, no, I'll ask you a question. What is the present value of a string of cash flows with the beginning cash flow of C0 and comes with a growth rate of G? And she said, well, Professor, very simple. C1 scaled by R minus G. Okay, very good. Now, what is the condition of that? And she said, oh, I know. The G must be smaller than the R. Okay, right, very good. Now tell me why. She kept silent for a few seconds. Hey, can you hear me? Oh, yes. What is your answer? Why the G, it must be smaller than R? In about 30 seconds, she replied, well, my teacher never told me this. I said, have you ever thought about this before? She said, well, I used to, but, well, that's the next thing, right? The answer is she never thought about it. No, I'm asking you, why do we need this condition. Focus on the part here. We have a limit, right? Where the n becomes very large. What can happen if G is larger than R? If G is larger than R, you will find for this part, 1 and G squared by 1R can be larger than 1. If it's larger than 1 with a very large n, what will you get? You'll get a very large number, right? So, technically, this string can never converge. You know converge? In Chinese, solely. C-O-N-V-E-R-G-E, converge. So, only when the G is smaller than R and the number is less than 1, with a very large n, you have 0. So it's converged, right? Can I find it? Yeah. So that is the reason why G must be smaller than R. In Chinese, it is 想让小于1的数的 n 次方写 zero, right? So that's why I put it here. Because it should be 0. Okay, then pay sufficient attention to the C1 here. From time to time, was students either from Hong Kong or from UK or in China, they tend to enjoy the same mistakes here. It is C1, not C0. If you want to use C0, what should you do? It also equals to C0 times 1 and G scaled by or divided by R minus G. Be careful about this. So based on this, you find it's very simple, right? So let's see the question. You plan to donate some money to your unmet matter to fund an annual 30,000 MB wedding party. Given interest rate of 8%, the required donation was the present value of, well, it's very simple, right? Now we have some additions. Before accepting money, however, the MBA Association has asked that you increase the donation to account for the effect of inflation. What does it mean? Well, ask some money, please. Right. The students estimate that the party's cost will rise by 4% thereafter. How much you need to know now? you're trying to get some money for the MBA party, which is very expensive. And your original plan is to, donate 30,000 per year. However, the students remind you that there might be some inflation. So what should you do then? We will need a growth rate, right? So it is 30,000 scaled by 8% minus 4%. My final question is, why do you like to use 30,000 rather than 30,000 times 1 and 3? You get confused, right? Because I'm telling you here, you must consider the growth rate. But here, they did not do it. That is also the reason why you like to draw a timeline always. Because the first payment is in fact C1, not C0. And C1 is 30,000. Okay, we have 3 minutes left, and I would like to finish time now to give you some advantage in food. So enjoy your lunch.